Hello everybody, welcome back to Read and Reread. I am Angelia and today I'm doing the I'm so annoyed tag. This tag had a marvelous wave of activity last week. I've been out of town and I was tagged, so I am back to do this. I know it's Monday and not Tag Tuesday, but I rearranged my video plan for this week because I also want to do a TBR. So I'm going to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week. And so you get bonus Angelia. Whether you like it or not, here I come. All right, so this is a tag about bookish things that we as readers find annoying. And the tag, it started out as a video by Melinda at Web of Stories that wasn't a tag. She just made a video about things that annoyed her. Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading weaponized it into a tag. Melinda passed back through and did it again and answered the questions that she didn't really talk about the first time. And I was tagged by Pat at Book Chat with Pat. So I will include all of those other videos in the notes. So there's several questions. We're going to go ahead and get started right away. Do publishers ever do things that you find annoying? Share an example. Yes, well, as you may know from the thumbnail, and many other people have also mentioned, I don't like these book club stickers that are not stickers. They're just baked right into the cover of the book. I mean, this book had a design. I mean, it's not anything particularly exciting, but somebody designed the cover and that's how they wanted it to look, and not with Reese's Book Club in there. You know, I don't care what Reese does. If they want to, that's fine, whatever, the book club. But I don't need that on my book. I don't mind it if it won a major award and there's an imprint of Pulitzer Prize or National Book Award or Booker, but I don't want some TV show book club in my book. And I also don't want Barnes & Noble's book club, although theirs is a peel-off sticker, so it's not as bad. I can get rid of it. So I don't like that. I also don't like other things that I do not like are flimsy, very thin pages, especially when there's a super long mammothy book and then they cheap out on the skimpy paper that you can see the print of the other side coming right through the page. Badly cut pages. What else? I don't know. I'm sure there's some other things, but those are the ones that come to mind. Number 2 is about spoilers. Have you ever been annoyed by a spoiler, even something as simple as someone else telling you that there's a great twist? Oh, yes. First of all, the worst kind of spoilers, I think, are the ones that are in the flap of the book. This book is not guilty of it, but, you know, when they put it right in there, I'm kind of scared. I mean, I look at that to see what the book is about, but sometimes they tell way too much. I was reading, and the worst ones are mystery or suspense. Like, I don't hardly even read those. I'd rather read a review somewhere else or somebody mentions it on a channel than even look in that flap, because they are really bad about giving away details that you were not supposed to know yet. Hold on. Here's an example. If you read this book, Kayla by Colin Walsh, don't read this flap. This is a good mystery. Don't read the flap. It gives something away that doesn't happen until pretty far into the book, and you're not supposed to know about it. You're not supposed to. I was reading it and I kept waiting for that thing to happen. But there's little clues that this has happened, but you don't know about it till it happens. So I don't like spoilers that the publisher should have known better about. And I also don't like intros and forewords on classic books that just assume that you don't mind knowing the entire plot of the book. Now, I will read books that I do know the entire plot of because I'm a big rereader, and a lot of times with classics I kind of know the outline of the story, but not necessarily. I might not know all the details, so don't give it away before I've read the book. I don't read forewords and intros until after I've read the book. I don't care where you put it in the book. They're all afterwards as far as I'm concerned. But yes, I don't like spoilers. I don't really want to know that there's going to be a giant twist, because then I'm looking for it and sometimes it isn't as giant as it was rumored to be, and then it's kind of a letdown. So yes, the answer to that question is yes, I've been annoyed by spoilers. I was just remembering I also read a Joseph Finder book where another one where the flap gave away a really major thing that happens in the middle of the book, and it just mentions it offhand, like this is another little thing that happens, and it's the whole suspense of the incident is just ruined. So if you read a book by Joseph Finder, I can't even remember what it's called or which one it was, just don't read any of the flaps. All right. Number 3 is about little free libraries. Have you, let's see, wait a minute, I lost it. Oh, here it is. Have you ever been annoyed by what you discovered in a little free library, a book sale, or a used bookstore? Tell us what you found and why it was so annoying. So my pet peeves on little free libraries are the ones that somebody has stuffed a bunch of junk in there. Like there's one that is at this, it's outside of this Center for Deaf and Hard of Hearing people, where they have, it's an early voting location. So I've gone to this building several times to vote, and there's a little free library there. So I'll stop and look in there. And I have two, this particular one brings out 2 pet peeves. So the first time I looked in there, somebody had stuffed all of these old, outdated, they were from the 80s, and they were self-help and exercise books. Like they had just, it was a bunch of stuff that should have either been just donated or maybe even recycled, like very out of date, in poor condition. It was just junk. It was not anything that anybody could make use of, but somebody just couldn't bring themselves to dispose of it properly, and they stuffed it in the box. Also, when people stuff things like religious pamphlets in the box, don't like it. My other pet peeve is poorly made little free libraries that are not weather resistant. The same box, I took a load of things to put in that box, but when I got there, everything in the box was all wet and soggy. It wasn't rainproof. Okay, number 4, when it comes to short story collections, are you annoyed if there's a novella in the middle of the collection? Yes, why would you do that? That needs to be on one end or the other. Here's my thing about, well, really any book, but short stories in particular. I need to know the length of something before I start reading it. I need to know the length of things. I need to know, if it's a nonfiction book, I need to know when the actual book stops and the research and endnotes begin. If it is short story, I need to know the length of each story before I start reading it. And I'm okay. If one story is 6 pages and another story is 20 pages, that's fine, but I need to have that sense of the length before I start. It's just part of my adjustment to the development of the plot. I need to have a sense of how far it's going to go. And so a novella, especially if I forget to look and then I start reading and I think, I don't have the sense, this doesn't feel like a short story. And then all of a sudden I look and it's 60 pages. Well, I wasn't prepared for that. And I sometimes, if it's not linked stories, sometimes I skip around and based on length and read certain stories out of order. So for these reasons, I would like the novella to be at the beginning or the end. You stick it in the middle, I'm going to skip it and read it at the end. So do what you will. That's what's going to happen. Deckled edges, beautiful or annoying? All right. I am going to go on the record as saying that I am deckled neutral. I do not care. I don't even notice. This question came up and I was fascinated by the strong opinions on this topic because I could not give a flying flip what the pages, I want the book to have good quality paper. And I don't like it when the pages are not well cut and things are sticking together, they haven't separated them properly. I don't care if the book is flat and clean or deckled, whatever the word. I just don't care. I read that and I thought, well, I know I have books of both kinds, but it doesn't even register when I buy the book or read the book. I do notice if they have something like colored, like sprayed edges, gilt edges, I kind of like those, but, well, sometimes the gilt ones are pretty, but then they don't turn very well. Colorful edges, whatever is fine, decorated, but I don't care if they're deckled. I just don't care. I can't bring myself to care. Number 6, other people's annotations in a used book or library book. Annoying, or are you okay with it? Well, that should not be in a library book. Heaven forbid. Lord have mercy. Be still my heart. Don't write in a library book. My gosh. But if it is, I buy a lot of secondhand books, and sometimes they do have writing in them, and it's okay. I find highlighting more annoying than handwritten notes. Handwritten notes are kind of interesting. I kind of, that feeling of someone having walked that path in the book before me. And I always think it's funny. You can tell when somebody read it for a class because they come out all, motivated, and there's lots of notes in the first few chapters, and then it just stops. And it was really funny, like some of the books in my own collection, sometimes it was me who read it for a class way back, decades ago. And then there's also some that my daughter had to read in high school, and she used our home copy. And again, the notes start and then they just trail off. And so I think there's a lot of people who either they give up on note taking and they just try to power read through the rest, or they just bail out and cheat and don't read the rest of the book. But whatever, that's okay. But the highlighting I find distracting because it's kind of like somebody who's just like poking you, and you're like, what? What do you want? I'll look at what they highlighted and I'll think, okay, and so that kind of bugs me. But I do buy, when I buy secondhand books online, I don't know if it's going to have writing in it or not, and that doesn't really deter me. Number 7, if there's a series or a collection of certain kinds of books, like an imprint, and changes are made, are you annoyed or are you okay with it? If yes, give an example. Well, I do appreciate the continuity of books that are all in the same publisher or imprint. It's not it's not going to prevent me from purchasing a book, but I do appreciate it, and I do sometimes wonder why when they just change it up or they don't have any kind of plan or continuity. Let us consider a couple of examples. All right, so here are the Lucy Barton books. The publisher is Random House, and they are all different. We have My Name is Lucy Barton, Anything is Possible, Oh William, and Lucy by the Sea. Only Lucy by the Sea got a good cover, in my opinion. These other ones are very boring, very neutral. This doesn't even suit the story at all. I don't know why they're doing Elizabeth Strout dirty like this with the covers, but at least they put kind of a cool painting on that one. But there's no continuity at all, and she's been with this publisher the whole time, so I don't know why they couldn't have put forth a little bit more effort for one of their best-selling authors. Here's a couple of good ones. Colson Whitehead, 2 out of the 3 in a trilogy. So I'm expecting the third one to also fit in. So Crook Manifesto and Harlem Shuffle, they don't have identical covers, but they go together really nicely. They look good together on the shelf. And then look at these. These are 3 books by Emily St. John Mandel that look very pleasing together on the shelf. They don't have the same fonts for the titles, but there's just a certain, and there's nothing like exciting about these covers. They don't really do a lot for me individually, but they look nice together, and they all were designed by the same person. Number 8, do the decisions of characters in a novel ever annoy you? Share the book and what decisions you found annoying. Oh my gosh, this is so many books. This is almost every book. Sometimes it mars the reading experience if the person is just too prone to either self-destructive or terrible choices where it just drives you nuts, but other times it's kind of what makes the character so compelling. The book I'm reading right now, One Good Turn by Kate Atkinson. So Jackson Brody is a character ongoing through a series, and he can be really, really annoying. He just, and he knows it. He knows that he's making annoying decisions, and people will point out, like, when you did that, were you thinking what? And he's like, oh, I don't know. So, like in the first book, he neglects a dental condition for all through the book, and you know something's going to happen. You know, he just waits until he has like a raging fever and he's passing out and in dire need of a whatchamacallit, a root canal. So, but he puts it off, but he keeps getting mentioned, the toothache, and you know that it's going to come back to haunt him. In the current book, he's in a relationship that it is not a spoiler to say that there's something not right here, and he keeps thinking it over and thinking, I don't know, maybe something's changed, something's not right. And you're like, you think? And and there's another character who never speaks up for himself, and he just keeps getting swept along through these tidal waves of bad events because he thinks and thinks and thinks, and he never speaks up. So, but I'm thoroughly enjoying the book. I can't say other books have just annoyed me to the point of no return with character decision and behavior. And right now I'm thinking of Sadie from Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Or how about, what's her name in Prophet Song? Oh my gosh, woman, the world is crumbling. Get up and get out of town. Number 9. Are you ever annoyed by how someone organizes their books? What do you find annoying? The only thing that annoys me, no, I'm not annoyed. However, people are satisfied, how they like to organize their books, what brings them pleasure. Your book collection, when you look around, should just make you feel good, make you feel content. So however that assortment, whatever that takes, I don't care. There's things I would never do that people do, but it doesn't matter because those are not my collections. I like to alphabetize my fiction so I can find everything, I can look around, I can see what I have, and other people don't. They maybe do it by genres or other methods and whatever. Some people do colors. That one I really don't understand because I get the aesthetic that they're looking for, but I don't know how they find anything. And the only thing that annoys me, and this isn't really how a person organizing their books, but it really bugs me when you watch something on HGTV and they go in a house and they act like, oh, here's this house and we're house hunting and we're just going to go in here and look. And the entire bookcase has the books turned around backwards. First of all, I don't understand what that's about. Is there some copyright thing about being able to spot a book in the background? Because every news person and commentator that gets interviewed on TV, you can see all of their books in the background. So I don't understand what the house hunter thing is with the turned around books. And also just acting like you are spontaneously house hunting in a town and all those books have been set up like that. What is that? Okay, let's see. I think are we at the end? Number 10, share something bookish that you find annoying. I understand why it is the way that it is, but I still don't like it. And that is bookstores, and I'm talking about not used bookstores, but new bookstores. And it doesn't matter if it's Barnes & Noble or an independent bookstore. They have a practice of sending hardbacks back to the vendor or publisher when that book comes out in paperbacks. And they don't keep a lot of books in stock from the backlist of an author. Now, I do understand the constraints of space and the need to keep copies or keep space for the book that is currently selling. But I am a fan of hardbacks. I prefer hardbacks. So I would rather, if my book budget is X amount, I would rather have fewer books and they are hardbacks than more books and they're paperbacks. So when I go into a bookstore and I want a certain book and that book is not a brand new book, I am still looking for the hardback. And now I do buy paperbacks sometimes, and I do have a lot of paperbacks, but I would rather buy a hardback. So the fact that that bookstores stock mainly paperbacks is a bookish annoying thing. And this problem will never be solved, and I understand why they have to do things that way, because there's more paperbacks can fit into the store and they probably sell more briskly because the cover price is lower, but I'm still annoyed. All right, number 11. I am not going to tag anyone in particular because while I was out of town, I kind of saw all these videos being posted and people were tagging, and I have not even gotten to watch all those videos yet. I'm still behind, but I know that everybody tagged everybody else, and anybody I tag has probably already been tagged. So if you think this is a fun video and you didn't get tagged, you are now tagged, and I hope that you will make your own version. And I will keep working my way through the back list of videos I missed and watch some more of other people's I'm so annoyed tag. So let me know if you agree or disagree with my answers here in the comments, and I will be back with my next video in a couple of days that will be the March TBR. Until then, have a great day. Bye-bye.